Alright, welcome back everyone. 皆さん、お帰りなさい。今日は285日目です。It's day 285. So, today is a little different. It would usually be it would be our typical day 4, but the last couple, 2 or 3 days, I've got the wonderful privilege to chat and talk with a very inspiring young fellow, right? And did a lot of things in the evening, so my schedule has shifted quite substantially. So there are 62 today, right? These are the 62 that are currently, which would get us to hit the 4 mark. But we're not gonna wait for this. So we're gonna have an extra leap day before our level up day, which gives me time to catch up on my Inktober stuff. So today we're just gonna do whatever is here. It's almost 6 p.m, but it's not gonna be 7 until 7 p.m. until we get the other half. So we're gonna do these 13, move right into Hanza Hero, and then I am gonna go and do me some artwork. So, which, by the way, something relevant to WaniKani, there is a WaniKani active Inktober thread, which is lovely to see that individuals who are ever curious and learning, their kanji and learning language, they are also very expressive in messing around with artwork. There are some very interesting ones, and one fun little tease about the people who like post things on the Inktober thread. There's a lot of cats. I like I'll echo a bunch of Twitch viewers and whatnot. I like watching people on the outside of what I choose to share publicly. I do share a lot of myself during these live streams. However, things that I save time for myself is when I people watch. So you can call it an excuse, but that's my rationale to balance out from constantly being intruding on and trying to draw attention. So I didn't like post anything on the WaniKani forum yet. Maybe there might be some incentive or some person who wants to. There was one person way back who talked about the campfire stuff in WaniKani. I kind of like how people are keeping each other motivated in the WaniKani forums. That's fantastic. I go there. I check once every day. Like every evening, I look at it, see what's going on. Quickly, slow, steady, get a vibe of the WaniKani community, and it's refreshing to see that Inktober or those, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, they're all artists. No, well, I don't think so. I think they just like drawing, and maybe they consider themselves artists. I don't consider myself an artist, but a hobbyist, right? And the things that are put up is so unapologetically charismatic and endearing. So it's kind of nice to see them. It actually gets me reeling for today, because I was thinking maybe I do 3 Inktober prompts today, but we're gonna settle for 2 for now. Lots of tasks to do. This will take like 10 minutes, so I wanted to talk about something WaniKani. You could call it a filler. But I echo this most of the time. I have to make each one of my days meaningful, so I want to talk about something that make mention and notice something and share something each day. That is how I impart value to my days. If you have a low day and a lazy day, go take your rest, meditate. For myself, I'm a very consistent person, so when I have a low chill day, I kind of up it up a little, and when I have a really hard day, kind of chill down a little. So kind of slight compression, keep myself a little consistent. But I still, WaniKani is a roller coaster ride. It's staggered state is crazy. All right, so let's get into our 13 reviews and head off to the next thing. Head off into our Hanzahiro. All right.
Kenko.
Kenko. Okay.
憧れる
Akogareru, right? To yearn after. Okay.
西日
Nishibi. This one is kind of pleasant. I like Afternoon Sun. I almost feel like that would be a really cool name, or like a really cool professional handle. Nishibi. The Afternoon Sun. Such an interesting name. I would describe some of the people I know as the Afternoon Sun. Like it sounds nice. Like Nishibi. or it sounds like a great cafe name. Like a nook and cranny place where you go to vibe or like to chill. I often think of a cafe with maybe some books, like a book cafe situation. That would be a great place to name Nishibi. Alright. I'm getting like after learning so many like disjointed characters and words and whatnot, I start like looking at objects nowadays and I think, wow, that would be a great way to just call something this, because the characters are imbued with meaning now. So, oh yeah, that sounds really good. This sounds nice. And whenever I see an object, like, huh, Kami? About like Kamika. Like, Kamika. Right. Fire, like paper fire. Just thinking like how I got caught up into English poetry and whatnot, like English free verse and creative writing. You just start throwing a few things together and see how they stick. It's really wonderful. It's an activity that I've been doing in my brain with how WaniKani distributes characters, right? So instead of focusing on what it doesn't do, which is constructing sentences or grammar or giving you proses and context, that's for other things. I kind of want to do another activity that increases my integration with the way SRS and kanji stuff work. So now I'm like looking at phones, objects, and I'm thinking, what kind of character does that elicit to me? And that's kind of what I'm doing now. And I'm doing this also because this is how I'm thinking about Inktober as well, because the Inktober theme is to look at something and feel the character, like which character shoots out at you when you look at an object now. So I get extra quote-unquote unaccounted for practice with characters because when I look at something, I think of a character, and it's really interesting. Although I do have to admit, Hanzahiro is, for my own personal anecdote, Hanzahiro is light years past WaniKani at the moment. Like, it's so I'm trying to spend time bolstering how I can up my WaniKani game. Like, how can I add and mix things? So right now in the evenings, I'm thinking to myself, like, where is the weakest link? And we're trying to raise the bottom floor, because WaniKani's bottom floor is very low, like substantially lower than Hanzahiro. Hanzahiro's really compressed. But ultimately, on average, consistently higher than WaniKani. It could be the nature of Japanese, it could be the nature of Chinese, that's very fair. The idea is I focus on now, what do I do with that? I don't want to focus on which is better, more how I can bring up the stuff. So, like for example, it's so much faster in Hanzahiro, like shui, right? Shui, bei, right? Beizi, beizi, right? Dianao. The things like are so much faster. But in Japanese, that character still holds though. So when I do things like look at something and I'm thinking soft, I'm like, huh, what is that yet? But the first character I would lean towards is what is attached to Hanzahiro. So it's very clear that something, there's a little bit of imbalance, and it's not so much, I think it's very much tied to the idea that one thing that I would say would bolster my attachment to WaniKani is that their mnemonics and their mnemonic system accounts for pitch accent. That would be something. The reason why is one of the key things that make Hanzahiro so consistent is it also captures what I hear in the mnemonic. So what I'm visualizing, so the tone, right? The tone is the missing aspect. So when I think of Japanese words in disjointed manner, one of the elements that are constantly missing when I'm reiterating, you know, like I'm saying it out loud, repeating, right? It doesn't capture the pitch accent. And I understand that pitch accent the end of the pitch accent can kind of slightly move around because of the following word and whatnot. The idea is that when I say something out loud, or I say something, and when I think shui, right? I'm thinking shui in my head, and I hear shui. And one of my skills is disjointed right now. It's actually probably one of my more dominant reliance, which is hearing. So when I'm looking at these things, it doesn't get reinforced. It doesn't create a bridge. So I'm often wondering, should I start now and construct a underlying system or pitch accent for each? Or do I use it and test the grounds with just the ones that I'm struggling with, which creates a little bit of noise that may not get used sufficiently, right? I've been trying out different things, like incorporating the components and skipping over the translation and just fetching things with the components, the radicals, right? Trying to hop around here and there with my mnemonics, doing like the mind blanking, you know, like where you try to think of something else and then you immediately look at the thing and see what comes in your way, and then try to bridge those, as opposed to trying to be comprehensive, as in, oh, what's everything here, and then try to do an order thing. I don't know, kind of a mixed bag right now. Incorporating pitch accent would be a very small meta layer of encoding, but in my opinion, when I can also visualize the graph because of my mnemonic, it's another form of information. So I'm thinking about adding a layer where it tells me if it goes up or down, right? You just need an up and a down. So there would be a key word in each mnemonic that says it goes up or down, or stay the same, but it's more like up down. So like this thing, right? And then the connection is formed by knowing that there's an up to down to up transition, or maybe just say low high, right? Just low high. And then heiban, when you have an up or like a high and a low, heiban has this really natural feel, so you don't really have to, I don't need a notation for heiban. We'll see. It's interesting. I think Hanzahiro did more, so there's, in my opinion, like it has a higher learning curve, right? Or I would say there are more moving parts in Hanzahiro, so the upfront learning curve is what engages me a lot more. I like doing things with a lot of granularity. So if someone says something like, oh, they come in, like yesterday, Churn came in and said like, oh yeah, this is overwhelming or a bit overwhelming. It's like, I like being overwhelmed at first. I am a person who throw me a very complex problem and I will break it down and try to build it back up. And that engagement gives me so much more flexibility on picking out what type of information I want. But that's very different from what I've been talking about the internet hustle culture. The internet hustle culture is, it normalizes you to look at something as simple as possible, right? What do your thumbnails look like? It's the person's face and the maybe one object that's highlighted that's related to the video. For me, when I see like a thumbnail, yeah, I do the same thing. I look at it for 5 seconds and I don't think about it anymore. It's so written out clear, as opposed to like going to an art exhibit and I look at the painting and I'm like, I have like an infinite number of questions, and like I can't even process how ornate it is. But then you look at the modern age of technology and you're like, oh, it's 4 sentences or it's 3 words. Dang, that's just oof on a thumbnail with someone's face, right? It's complex, made to look incredibly simple. You vibe everything, right? And that's great. That's useful to save time. I don't think necessarily for me it's useful when I have to actually do something with it. You learn so little about yourself, about the thing. Like there's very little potential. You're guessing most of the time. There's a lot of guesswork, and that guesswork can be way off the mark. So whenever someone comes in and says, oh, I've organized all the things that I've done, and they say it's too chaotic, it's too overwhelming, it tells me that, what do you think the thumbnail is supposed to say? I didn't get a chance to ask, but like, what did they think the thumbnail was going to say? Like, I legitimately cannot reduce how much information is in the thumbnail because I do all of those things in one session, right? It would be different if I only did one thing in those sessions and I reduced it to like a 5-minute video. That's probably one of the things I'm thinking about now. Like, that is my selection factor, and I've chosen it as my selection factor. I don't know if others do. Like, I would love to hear other people reduce my complexity down to a vibe. That is very informative. It helps me adjust my things to the vibe, right? So when someone says, oh yeah, your digression that you spent 8 hours talking to with another person yesterday, it just means always do your best. All right, take it, go for it. Make a video explaining how you've captured all the things I've said into a single sentence. Because to me, I have achieved my objective. I allowed someone to create something of their own image by paraphrasing what I said. I think a great example of that is when you read a primary literature and you're a journalist, you summed it up in your own words, however reductive or expansive. You could even make it more complicated if you wanted as a journalist, but usually a journalist and people who are run by opinionated viewer product mentality, they would reduce it so it's more palatable. Like, you want to reduce people's work so you can do more of it and then get more people to read it and whatnot, right? That to me is what the main point I said yesterday about if I were to design a course, I have a different mentality. It's not that it's a better or a worse mentality. I want something that complements the existing mentality. The existing mentality is to take complexity and make it simple. Not make it comprehensible. It is both comprehensible at the sake of simplicity. So you simplify something in order to make it comprehensible. I want to make it comprehensible so it appears simple, not the other way around. And I think I got sufficient feedback from individuals who consistently tells me to make things look simpler, not more detailed and easier to understand, things simpler, because it's all about not becoming overwhelmed at your highest peak. It's more like I can only handle that much, so please reduce it, as opposed to it's a little much, but I can do more. So pardon me, right, as I expand and do even more each time I do things. I would try to make it, capture it in a way that it can be seen as understandable, but it's going to be progressively more overwhelming, largely because with each passing day or each passing month, I will continue to do even more than I've done before, because I don't settle for being overwhelmed. When things are overwhelming, it drives me to do better or more, right? And when I do that, I drive myself to try to explain that in a way that's digestible. That's one of my last thoughts last evening. Like when I thought about artwork, trying to break down the artwork, but also build it up. Start with something complex, break it down, or start with something simple and then build it up, right? Do the same thing. That is what I mean by whenever someone tells me something is overwhelming, but they don't explain anything. Like they vibe the criticism, but they didn't provide a constructive follow-up. Like you sit there, you look at it, it's like, it's overwhelming. I'm like, okay. Explain. I didn't have the time to ask. Usually that would be on me to ask, because I feel that a vast majority of growing kiddos might still require time to think about why is it that, or how is it that, because I think that can be a self boon for finding out maybe it's not that overwhelming, or maybe it is that overwhelming, or it might be indifferent. Weird. But we'll work on it, or I'm gonna work on it anyways. All right, just some I had some thoughts.
頭痛
Okay. Ze paku. Se paku.
切迫
Se paku. Okay. It's not Sawaru. I've done Sawaru immediately for this. Oh, what? Oh, cool.
怒る
My jerk reflex is you're getting angry, so I think of irritate as opposed to getting angry, like getting angry.
南風
Most of the new ones, English is pretty dominant first, so the translation comes in first before I get used to it.
東アジア
Asia is weird. Asia. Let's see.
就業
Yu-Gi-Oh. Taiseyo.
大西洋
Taisei. Oh yeah, Taiseyo. Okay. Kitakaze.
北風
Kitakaze. All right, that's it. And I was actually less than 5 minutes. I wanted to talk about something. Good time to talk. Opportunity. Okie dokie. So let's go over this stuff. Keep it fresh. So now we're doing definitions and reads as a way to offset some stuff. The radicals are probably going to fall behind. However, I think the radicals are sufficient most of the time, whether I drop a few or not. Okay, so Sho, check-in. Dan, depths. I, stomach. Gu, belly. Su, pain. Tai, retreat. Kutsu, kutsu, yield. Naya, worry. Ka, spare time. Shiki, shoku, weave. Ka, lend. Me, stray. Bucket. Misguided. You, invite. Chu, get a position. Ho, visit. Do, angry or anger. Sho, send. Mean, sleep. Sweet, drowsy. Sho, symptom. Tighten, that's weak. Aku, urge. Akoga, yearn. Tsu, shoes. No, dense. An, edge. Goku, Goku, extreme. To, root. En, healthy. O, ease. And no, guy is there was a little hesitation there. Okay. So I kind of need this. That's a wrap for WaniKani today. Our session did a little bit of yapping voluntarily to myself, kind of reminding me about myself, reflecting, right? Reflecting each day. If you're gonna watch this later, arigatou gozaimasu, right? As always, feel free to pick up WaniKani, try it out for yourself. Let me know what you think. You're more than welcome to stop on by, yap a bit, exchange some ideas, brainstorm things, you know, keep each other motivated. Until next time, for those who are only interested in WaniKani, minasan mata ne. Mite kurete arigato, right? Thanks for watching. I'm gonna switch gears right away to Hanzahiro, largely because this is a short session. Hello there, Danny. Hello, hello. How's your day off and work time? Got some work in? Alright, I'm gonna switch to Hanzahiro for a sec here.